So in this video, I'll be talking about how to create a Japanese maple collection at an affordable price, or indeed enhance a collection that you already have. Hi there maple fans, and in this series of videos, I'll be sharing what I do throughout an entire year on a monthly basis. Please note that these months are based on UK timings, but of course can easily be adapted to anywhere else in the world. So here's a typical tree that I purchased last year for a very affordable price of £9. Not the cheapest you can buy, you can actually buy even cheaper than that, and I'll show you that soon. But as we can see, the tree's doing really, really well. It's a Benimako, which is a lovely, lovely example of a Japanese maple, and has done extremely well. What I would say, though, is that these trees are ones that will grow on their own roots, and I'll explain later to those that may not understand what that means. But very affordable, very obtainable. A butterfly here, also paying for about £5 as well, doing perfectly well. What you will find, however, is that the range of available trees is somewhat limited because not all trees can actually grow on their own root systems. So we'll see in a bit, there's maples that actually have been grafted onto rootstock. So they're actually sitting on a different tree that's sort of attached together. And that gives much more interesting possibilities, or much more varied possibilities, should we say, as well. And just to show you there, that's a butterfly. So it's exactly the same tree. About 4 or 5 years down the line, and as we can see, we've turned a £5 purchase, or a €5, €5, it's all roughly the same, into rather a magnificent Acer, to be honest with you. So you can really start small and just wait and get used to your trees, and in time they will develop into something really quite exceptional. So just talking about these trees now, these are bought from a retailer in the UK. This is what you get from a typical Acer supplier, and these are grafted. So the top of the tree is a pure genetic copy of the original tree, and the bottom part of it that's been attached to is a really good root system. What this enables you to do, which is very important, is to have a much greater variety of trees that otherwise wouldn't survive or wouldn't do well. Tamukiyama there is a very old cultivar, and it needs to be on a new root system that's aged over time, and sort of to combat disease and stuff like that. So it is a bit stronger, it is a bit more reliable. You can just see on the tree there on the stem where the original tree's been cut off. So it does look a bit unsightly to start with, but this will actually all blend together nicely to make a lovely end result. So this gives you variety in a very, very strong root system, which is great. These are about £16.50, so not expensive, and can in fact be mail ordered. So that size tree typically can be bought online for a very, very affordable price. So worth pointing out that Acers, or Japanese Acers, are the same as Japanese maples. It's just a different name for them. But as we can see here, by going to a proper dedicated Acer supplier, a huge variety of trees can be obtained. So even though it's very tempting to go to a garden centre and pick up a load of ones just for there, given the fact these trees will probably outlive us all in the right conditions, so they would last many, many, many decades, I think making a selective choice is really important. So as you can see, what I've gone for here is trees that I've bought small and just able to grow, but really gone for a good variety of them. I think a lot of people don't realise how many different styles there actually are. This one hasn't leafed out yet, but this is Moonrise, for example, which is an absolute brilliant tree that is commonly available in a lot of places. So that's one to look after. And as you can see for the one on the left down there, they can look very, very different indeed. Also be aware, because these trees haven't leafed out yet, so if you're purchasing them, you can't really see the end result of what you're buying. This one, like red wine, you can, so it's an easier purchase if you like, but you've got a leaf variegation going on there. You've got weeping trees, you've got dissectron trees which have different style leaves. You've got leaves with very thin leaves as well. Just pointing out, this one needs a bit of cutaway there, so for those who already have these trees, you may get a tree with a bit of dieback on it as well. So at the end of the video, I'll show you how to deal with that. But at this time of year, it's actually quite a good idea to have a look at this, because clearly that branch isn't growing any more leaves at this stage because it's leafed out so well. So we can snip that away about there actually, and just tidy it up and make that correction, I suppose. But again, if you're buying trees, just avoid that because it's a new purchase, so we don't have to have a tree with that on it really. Ukiguma there is another great example, because On certain years, it is a bit sort of year dependent. The leaves come out almost pure white, and I think that's going to be a good year for that tree. So again, something really, really different that's really worth looking out for. And unfortunately, that and this tree here will not grow well on its own roots. So you need to find a supplier that's going to graft them and present them accordingly, really. So having variation adds interest, and it's really quite exciting to travel the country and try to find suppliers and really enjoy how very, very varied these trees are. Also good to note that in your search for new trees, very, very important to work out what they like. So the Dragon Master tree there, or the orange tree that just preceded it, and certainly the Jordan on the left there, really don't like direct sunlight at all. If you commonly read up on trees from garden centres, they'll often say, they must all be in shade or they must be in partial shade. That's not in fact the case. Some of them will tolerate full sun. I've got other videos on that. But Jordan is one of these trees that looks absolutely gorgeous in shade and loves shade, and really brightens up a shady area. So some degree of pre-planning and thinking and watching my videos perhaps and doing some research and being inspired is really, really very important. Because honestly, once you put them in the right place and the right size pot, which I often go on about, keep the pot small, they really can make for a lovely, lovely display all summer long. Whereas perhaps flowering trees, okay, they're lovely for a short space of time, but these will give you lots of enjoyment for an entire season. We have some trees from my local supplier in Dorset that I bought last year. Those who watched my previous videos would see that I actually left them in their little pots all year, so they'd be really, really strong this year. So they're in those pots, they're going to grow into those pots nicely. They're doing really, really well. They're looking healthy. And I think you can see they're on the road there to becoming really nice large trees, which is absolutely lovely. And just to say, if you'd like to come with me on my Acer journey, please do like and subscribe to my little channel. It really, really helps. I've also recently set up a Patreon site, so that's a great way of supporting me too, and help out with some of the costs of my excursions, really. There's also the offer of some personal help, if you'd like it, either in a group format or on a one-to-one basis. So as a quick diversion, lots of people ask how I create my plant labels, and this is using a laser engraver. Many of you may not have come across this. Just to note, this is actually an earlier version of one, so it's not horribly expensive. I think a very, very new version, something like £1,000. Given the fact I'm just using it to do some labels and a bit of craft work and stuff like that, this is absolutely fine. So it's much, much cheaper than that. But as you can see, because the laser's etching the name of the tree directly onto slate in this case, so this is a very, very cheap slate actually, so it's not terribly expensive. It just makes a marker that's going to last for indefinitely, I suppose, really. Even if the tree was very large, this could be hung on a tree with some twine or something like that as well. So it doesn't have to be staked in the ground at all. So I just decided on this. It's a bit of a extravagance, if you like. For those that ask, I don't sell them. But yeah, I mean, I'm here to show people how to do things, and that's definitely it was a very, very worthwhile investment. And if you're into crafts and stuff like that, you could make some other interesting stuff as well, I guess, really. Another great advantage of buying trees at this time of year is they're going to leaf out in the conditions that they're going to spend the summer in. So if you buy any new tree, I have mentioned this before, but don't put it into direct sunlight if you bought it in June, July, August, because it's just going to be too hot. When these trees are grown, they're in very, very cared for conditions. They're in shade. Just shocking it or putting it into a huge tree is not a great idea. Just a little aside again, these are hostas. They make lovely additions to Japanese gardens, and they're just coming through. These are around the side, they're organic slug pellets, just to make sure that they don't get eaten, because they do get eaten very easily. But they do like really pretty additions to sort of set off your maples, which is lovely. Another great example of a Japanese maple is Wilson's Pink Dwarf here. Absolutely beautiful variegated leaves and renowned for sort of spring colour. So what you kind of want is maples that look great in the spring, or that's their particular feature. There's ones that look lovely all summer, well, they all look lovely really, but some have a real strength, like a Sakazuki that has a brilliant display of fire engine red in the autumn. So again, it's all about variation and seeking out different maples of different types. So you're not duplicating things really. There are well over 2,000 varieties of Japanese maples. So if you just randomly start collecting them, you might land up with some that are really quite similar. So some of these are absolute classics. And it also means that you can position the pink ones and, offset them with red ones. Yellow ones or yellow leaf ones make a beautiful addition to gardens because they really show off the other colours in the garden really well. So of the Japanese maples, there are several different types really to look for. There's the palmate types, which have broad sort of finger spreading leaves like the one I'm showing you here. They're the classic Japanese maples that we sort of know and expect really. The grass there is Hakanakloa, which is a Japanese grass, by the way, so it's all in keeping. You've got the sort of very string-like, this is Kota no Ito, which has got, it's actually the harp string Japanese maple, that's a translation. So that's a very interesting addition that people may not be aware of and can really add to a varied collection. You've got dissected ones, which are sort of weeping, we'll come to soon, and they're a very nice addition too, as well as Shiroswanums with big broad leaves. So it's really good to hit the internet or watch my videos, do some research, because you've got several categories there, and within each of those categories there's a huge amount of variation. So just buying what's on offer at the garden centre, we can do better. Carl's Corner there is probably quite a rare one, but it's a very small dwarf one and grows very, very slowly. So again, another consideration, is it going to go upright or is it going to spread very much like that contifolium there, which is going to leave a lot of horizontal space. So in a small garden, that wouldn't be a very good purchase really. Where other maples have a different habit. They're very, very different the way they grow. So that's one more consideration when buying. So very, very pretty leaves on that. Yasmin grows really quickly. So that's come on leaps and bounds in the last couple of years. Jerry Swartz, absolutely gorgeous tree. Really bright pink that lasts all summer actually in that location. Some trees can have varying locations, but if you give that one semi-shade, it will retain its pink colour all season, which is absolutely delightful. So another consideration. This Okushimo here is a beautiful little cultivar that grows virtually vertically. So if you've got limited space, it's always good to have one of these because it's never going to go that wide, and it has the most gorgeous folded over leaves. Its actual cultivar is 300 plus years old, found in Japan. So it's a really traditional little maple really. Again, if you shop around, it's readily available. Firecracker there, renowned for its autumn colours, is a dissectum, so again a different style of leaf, different shape to the tree as well. And here's Sazunami, which is a different animal entirely. It's a palmate leaf, it grows really quickly and is quite upright. Killarney has the most beautiful orange leaves in winter, so a great one for the sort of winter season. A bit plain and a bit ordinary for a lot of the year, but I know that can be absolutely spectacular in the winter season. Great tip as well, go out to various places that have Japanese maples like Western Burt or Batsford Arboretum in the UK, because then you'll see examples and you can keep an eye out and try and buy them. These trees can also be planted in the ground, but as I've said several times before, really good idea to keep them in pots actually for a couple of years, get used to them, find what position they like, move them around a little bit. Don't put a Japanese maple where you want it to go. It really is worth the effort trying to find out what the tree likes, what conditions are good for it. None of them like wind very much because it dries them out, so that's a key factor. But yeah, putting them in the right position. Morning sun, afternoon shade is the classic place for maples, but there's lots more flexibility than that as long as you make the right purchase. Here's another dissectum here, Crimson Queen. Absolutely lovely, great by water, for example. So if you've got a pond, if you've got a stream, that can look really, really good. And then you've got Japanese maples with yellow bark like this Baihu. A little bit of dieback there to sort out later, but it looks quite sparse, and that's why actually it's better you deal with dieback at this point, because some of those the branches actually look dead, but they're actually producing leaves on that particular variety. So just want to watch out. That's something to look out for. Twomey's Ledge Red Sentinel here, beautiful, beautiful tree, really dense leaves, absolutely gorgeous, and again very, very vertical. So if you've got limited space or it's on a patio or you just want to mix and match it with other trees really, that looks really, really nice. And the Shiki there looks absolutely gorgeous coming into its own. Bought that a couple of years ago, that's doing really well. And why not throw in some bamboo? This is running bamboo, however, so I've got it contained in really thick containers to sort of make sure that it doesn't spread. And this bamboo will grow to about 6 foot tall in one season, which is a nice height to offer some really great wind protection. So onto the bit of dieback here. Really good just to trim, as I said, this back at this time of year, you can clearly see what's truly dead. And I'll just take it back by about 10 to 15 millimeters there, 20 maybe, just to trim it quite nicely. You can see now that there's no buds on this section. The wood's completely dry, and it should clip off really quite easily indeed. You could indeed do a little bit of sort of pruning generally here as well if you wanted to. What you don't want to do is go back too far though. It will die back to a node, as it's called, where two or more branches sort of go off in different directions, and you just want to stay away from that and give it that little bit of room, because whatever's causing the dieback will sort of get stopped at that point really. But great time to trim the trees, make them look more attractive. But yeah, going back to the central theme, mix and match, try different trees, do your research. Japanese maples are a type of tree, and there's more than 2,000-3,000 cultivars by now, most likely, so no need to keep buying the same colors, the same leaf shape. Do some research, mix and match, and they certainly offer massive potential.